The Warhammer world is steeped in magic. It takes the form of great winds, blowing forth from the polar gate towards the equator. As the very lifeblood of the realm of chaos bleeds into the material plane, it interacts with the mortal world and splits into 8 distinct elements. While invisible to the mortal eye, anyone connected to the winds of magic can see them as they sweep across the world, seeking people and places with similar characteristics. With this witch sight, as the ability is called, a spellcaster can identify each wind of magic by its unique properties. The simplest way to tell them apart is by their color, for each wind possesses a distinct hue. Azir, the wind of heavens, is a vibrant blue, while Gyran, the wind of life, is a brilliant green. Ulgu, the wind of shadow, is dull gray, but its powers are anything but. The wind is full of plots, shadows, and illusions, as it is the realm of chaos's reflection of mortal confusion and the sensation of being lost. Spellcasters who draw upon its power utilize the lore of shadows, a powerful magical discipline capable of great acts of deception and subterfuge. When viewed with witch sight, Ulgu appears as a thick gray mist, blocking any and all attempts to peer through it. It is one of the heaviest winds of magic, acting more like a fog than a proper gale as it rolls across the hills and fields. Those caught in its grasp are filled with doubt, mistrust, and confusion. Unlike the other winds of magic, these magical fog banks are easy to manipulate with physical winds. When storm clouds gather, large quantities of Ulgu can be drawn into their midst, augmenting thunderstorms with the mystical power of shadow magic. These great storms of magic empower mages that harness the lore of shadows, and it is during this time that Ulgu is at its most potent. Yet the wind is nearly as powerful in the still, malevolent fog banks that blanket the world at dawn, covering whatever lies beneath it with hungry shadows. Only the light of Hysh can banish them, dispersing the weight of Ulgu like the sun disperses a morning mist. Ulgu is drawn to naturally occurring sources of shadow, such as fogs and mists, as well as more metaphorical ones, such as deception, mystery, and confusion. Those who draw upon the Grey Wind will take on some of its characteristics, becoming mysterious and difficult to remember. Oftentimes, someone heavily steeped in Ulgu will be almost impossible to accurately describe, their physical traits disappearing into a series of foggy half-truths and misremembered facts. It should come as no surprise that those who use the Grey Wind are distrusted above all others, perhaps save mages harnessing the purple wind of Shaiish, for how can you trust a man who you can't even remember? Still, their suspicions are misplaced, as Ulgu is not inherently aligned with disloyalty or betrayal. While they may come off as very suspicious, a mage that harnesses the Grey Wind is no more treacherous than any other spellcaster, and will not become more likely to turn upon their masters as they take on Ulgu's mannerisms. When shaped by a talented wizard, the lore of shadows can create magical darkness, turn people invisible, inflict silent death, and befuddle the mind. These abilities lend themselves to subterfuge and deception, sometimes on an immense scale. The shifting isles off Ulthuan's eastern coast, designed to confuse would-be invaders coming from the old world, are infused with Ulgu. The wind's power makes islands appear and disappear overnight, making the region incredibly treacherous to navigate. In addition to this trickery, the Grey Wind can be quite potent on the battlefield as well. Battle spells from the Lore of Shadows often confuse their opponents, embolden their allies, and pierce the heart of their foes with insubstantial shadow tendrils. It should be noted that, during the End Times, Ulgu became attached to Malekith when Teclis unbound the Great Vortex, freeing the winds of magic. Acting as the incarnate of Shadow, the Witch King used the wind's power to great effect in his war against the forces of chaos throughout the End Times. While ultimately this wasn't enough to save the Warhammer world, it did make him the god of Shadow and master of Ulgu in the Age of Sigmar. As I understand the End Times are a touchy subject among fantasy fans, and not one I have too many resources over yet, I'll defer covering it to a future video that all of you can skip if you like. With that, we have come to the end of our overview of Ulgu, the Wind of Shadow. This is the first video in a new series, this time covering the Winds of Magic. If you were expecting a detailed overview of Ulgu's presence in Total War Warhammer, that'll be coming soon enough. I initially planned to do that in this video, but that was quickly becoming a very long video, and I'm at least attempting to keep a weekly schedule. Instead, this video has covered the lore of Ulgu, while the next video will cover how it functions in Total War. That will give me more time to really dig into how the Lore of Shadows works from a mechanical standpoint, which I hope you'll all enjoy. Obviously, I've started by covering Ulgu, but I'll eventually do this with every Wind of Magic, as well as their associated lores in Total War Warhammer, and eventually the non-Wind lores as well. Finally, if a Lore of Magic has an Imperial College of Magic dedicated to it, I'll cover that as well. These won't all be coming out one after another, of course, but it's something to look forward to. That's all I have for today, though, so until next time, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.